Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. unveils new promises for the second half of his 6-year term, nailing down achievements in his fourth State of the Nation address. On that speech, promises on almost every front on basic issues for the average Filipino, but possibly short on detail. Let's look at that with our political analyst, Edmund Tayao, live from Manila. He's the president and CEO of Political Economic Elemental Researchers and Strategists, or PEERS. Professor Tayao, that criticism of short on detail, big on promise, would you agree with it?
No, I don't agree. I don't think there's shortness of detail. If there's anything short, the State of the Nation address failed to mention anything that is political, which is mainly one of the challenges that the administration faces. In fact, there are so many details. In other words, the focus was so much on details that somehow there was a need to at least mention some of the political attacks against the administration, so as to, at the very least, assure the public that the president is able to manage these political attacks. But there were hints on these political attacks, but not really mentioned about it.
All right. You are right. There's, in fact, a flood of detail. And in a way, a speech like this, you have to choose the detail you might actually want to include. And you could argue that there was, in some areas, too much details. For example, we heard all aspects of funding for schools, for hospitals, public health, dialysis treatments, vocational training. But as you say, all these things cannot be executed if there's dysfunction in government. And if you fail to address the lack of unity in your own government, how can you meet these demands for basic services?
Actually, the mention of these specific services is not something that is new. There were outlines already made in the previous State of the Nation addresses. And the reason for the mention of these details is to emphasize that there were already some inroads that were already made. And it's good that it's coming from the president because for some reason, it has not been communicated enough to the public, as to what exactly has already been accomplished, especially with the focus on education, agriculture, and in the effort to grow the economy, particularly the medium and small scale enterprises. So I think the mention of the detail or the details mentioned were needed to emphasize that there were, in fact, accomplishments that have, at the very least, started from from day one of the administration.
All right. But it would be hard not to notice the fact that the vice president herself has skipped this very important speech for the second year running, and not just her, but those allied to her and her powerful family. And that includes the president's own sister, who is a senator, but who is at this point allied with the Duterte family.
You have to understand that the kind of politics we have in this country, and I've always hesitated to call it a political system because, to be honest, there's no such system, a functional system, other than focus on political personalities. Hence, it's not new that even the sister, no less, of the president is for somehow conflicted with having to ally with the opposite political group. And I hesitate to call it a political party because political parties in the Philippines are hardly real political parties where members of the same political party supposedly follow the same principles and the same guideposts, as far as making decisions and making alliances are concerned. Hence, when we say that the followers of the previous administration or the followers of the vice president has not been attending is quite obvious, because precisely all of them are following the lead of the vice president. But on that note, I'd also like to emphasize that in the case of the House of Representatives, many of those who were expected to remain loyal, no, to the group of the vice president seem to have changed their positions, no, and joined the majority. There were only 7 or so who were reported to remain with the bloc or with the group of the one of the sons of the previous and the sons and the relatives of former President Duterte. In the case of the Senate, even if you say that the minority is composed of the sister of the president, you can't just say that the minority will actually be going against all the time going against anything that the administration is going to push. Take note that the minority leader in the Senate now is former Senate President Vicente Soto, who has somehow voiced positions that are consistent with the administration. So
all right,
if you're going to ask me, the Senate is difficult to say who's actually with the administration or who's actually with the vice president.
Yeah. Final question, Professor Tayao. If we were looking for clarity and a position from the president on these divisions in his own government, we might also have been looking for his position on, for example, and he has been very strong on this in past speeches, on what happens in the West Philippine Sea or the South China Sea. He has been very clear on this in the past. And in this speech, we could interpret his generalities about the Philippines as friends to all, it wants no enemies. Is it in any way stepping back from what has been a very robust position on China? Final question.
I don't think we can say that it's a robust position as far as China is concerned. Robust position in the sense that it's different from the previous administration. There had been a lot of developments as far as the Philippines working with other countries, not only the United States of America, which the group of the vice president has been insisting to be limited to the United States of America. Well, the country has been working with other countries like Japan, Australia, South Korea, and even neighboring countries like Vietnam and Malaysia. In fact, second half of last year, if I'm not mistaken, there had been established joint maritime law enforcement, no, as far as other countries in Southeast Asia who are in fact also claimants of parts of the South China Sea, including that of a particular part, which is the West Philippine Sea.
Yeah,
so
thanks
I think
so much.
It's clear.
Thanks for the insight, Professor Edmund Tayao, political analyst, joining us live from Manila. Thank you.